Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to the weekly outlook. Glad to be back in Moscow and glad to have so much of you here. So some traders are asking where the link would be for the next month weekly outlook. It's going to be on my Facebook page. What you want to do is you always want to go and like the Facebook page and follow me in the Facebook page. Not a lot of information here. I wouldn't be sending you a message every 5 minutes. Don't worry about that. You'll hardly get a message from you once a week. I'm too busy for Facebook. So this is more for information. Just in case anything goes wrong wherever I'm like on Trading View, you can find me here, right? So if it's on YouTube goes wrong, you can find me here. We don't know what's going to happen. So you may find me on Facebook. Try to subscribe to Facebook, try to subscribe to YouTube, and you will get me one of those two places. I will also ask you to help share the link. Because from my experience in Dubai that I went the second time, I met with a lot of traders, some of you probably in the room. And I can tell you that I've had some real face-to-face experience that, that is very, very touching. In a kind of way, it's very sad sometimes because we all heard incidents of traders who have bought courses for 10,000, spent a lot of money there, lost their money, being scammed somewhere along the way. With fancy people keeping fancy, these guys having a big show at the hotel, 5-star hotel, inviting people, telling them how great they live, how they're going to make them millionaires, and then, disappear with all the money, and you never learn anything much from that. Well, I've met some people who have actually been in that situation. And it's a whole different story when you meet people who have been there than when you just hear the story like you hear it from me, right? You're hearing something, like, whoa, it's happening somewhere there. I'm not connected to that. It has nothing to do with me. People buy 10 different courses, never worked. They still never learned to trade. We hear all those stories. But when you actually are sitting in front of somebody who has been in that situation, you kind of feel it different. And one of the things I've learned from most of those people is that they just wish they had found my YouTube webinars a little earlier. It doesn't matter whether I would make them successful traders. It's just matter that if they had only found those webinars before, they probably wouldn't have messed up as much as they did. They probably wouldn't have buy those courses they did. They probably wouldn't have risked too much money that they were risking. They probably would have done a lot of things different simply by just looking at those webinars. I get that from people who actually have now found me. Some of them are going to be taking the course, but that is least important to me. What is most important is that we can save people from falling into those traps. So when I ask you to help share the videos, it's not so much as for people to come buy my course. Most people will never buy my course because they're trading very small sums of money. They probably don't have the capital to do that. They're not pretty much serious in learning. All of that for many reasons. But at least one thing we can do for them is we can let them know that this business is a serious business. And unless you have capital, unless you're serious about learning and getting the knowledge, you will not be successful no matter who promised you what. You can go buy a course that's called $1 million course from a hedge fund trader. That will never make you a successful trader. If you see the name $1 million in the course, run the opposite direction. Any course for a newbie that has the name $1 million in it, please run in the opposite direction, right? That is the biggest hype that when you hear that, you're going to lose $1 million if you have one. That is most likely what is going to happen. If you have $1 million, you're going to lose it. Because that course will never teach you anything. The name of the course alone is telling you, we are selling you package. Don't worry about the content. Buy the package from us. When the content is good, you don't need to package it like that. And I think traders should be smart enough to recognize those things. If you aren't, well, then you probably shouldn't be traders. But at some point, we have to share it so that at least they will get that information out there. If you help share this video, somebody watching this video who aspired to be a trader will realize that he needs to take 1 year to learn all the basic stuff before he decides if he's ever going to be a trader. Don't buy a single course for 1 year of your trading career if you're now starting. Because you are not ready to make an educated decision on what is a good course. You don't have that. And although we can all say this day in, day out, there's still many traders out there who are being scammed of their money, who have been promised very, becoming millionaire, promise of living this wonderful life. And nobody tell them, hey, you got to study hard, my friend. It may take you hours and hours every single day. You can become a millionaire. I'm not telling you you're going to do that tomorrow or in a year or in 2 years. 2 years. You'll probably take 5-6 years to even become a successful trader sometimes. Depends on your ability to learn, your ability to handle risk, your capital that you have or capital that you can get. All those factors need to be there to make you a successful trader. But most people, what they get out there, hey, don't worry. Go put it on your credit card. Come here. We'll give me 10,000. I'll make you rich. You see the millionaire life I'm living? That's how you're going to be living. That's exactly because I borrowed 10,000 and I took a course from somebody and I became super rich. So you borrow 10,000, take a course from me, you become super rich. You're not going to. Don't even borrow money for that purpose, right? So don't do that because there's a lot of people. JR, if you're in a rush, you can go. You don't have to be here. Because I'm running the show, not you. I've met these people and I've seen the pain in them. And it seems like you're one of the people who may fall into that trap because you're in a little hurry to learn. You're in a little hurry to get a trade even though the charts are not moving. So you know the way out. Okay. If he is new, he should be listening, then you learn. There's a key to learning. There's only one single way to learn. You have to listen and learn from others people's experience. If you're in a rush to trade when the charts are not moving, you probably should never be a trader. And number one thing that will make you a trader is called patience. Patience, my friend. If you don't have patience, the chart will teach you a lesson. The market will teach you a lesson. We have seen traders like those, right? They jump in trade, jump out of trade, and they never learn anything. Okay, so one more request, please share the charts. It's going to help somebody. You can select the one you want. Just take the one that I have where I'm explaining to traders what they need to do to be successful traders, and that is all you need to share. Not everything, right? Let's go. Okay, everybody hold your chat now. Let's go through the charts, and at the end, we'll take questions. Today is Sunday, I have a lot of time. We're gonna take all the questions you want. Some traders are in a rush. They come here for a trade. You're not going to get a trade if you come here. That's not the point. The point is you're going to come here to learn something. And if you leave at the end of this webinar learning anything, then your purpose for being here is worthwhile. Right? If not, then don't waste your time. So let's go. Dollar index. Dollar index, as we said last week and this week and probably next week, will still be in a very, very big consolidation, right? This is more of a daily consolidation happening here. So there's likelihood that we could get more downside, except that it's going to consolidate in this level for a while, right? We did tag the top, we even broke the top, but there is no divergence there. So there's a possibility this piece here could still go back up. Now, what are the chances that this consolidation is over and this is coming down? I would say very little, but possible, because we broke out of the bigger trend and we're trying to make a much bigger consolidation, as you can see, right? When they break out of this bigger trend, we're anticipating probably some kind of a three-wave consolidation here. And we're probably still in that first wave. It is not going very aggressive, but that is how consolidation works. They don't move far, they don't move fast. Put it back to the 1 hour. What are the possible options you can look for this week? I would look for more upside here. Wait for if they make a flag, they're making a 1 hour flag here. So if they make a 1 hour flag, you can look for the up trade to continue like this one did, last week. You can look for the upside. If they're going to go down, you can't sell it from here. You have to wait for them to break this and most likely break the whole trend line, right? There isn't a sell setup in here. Because if you try to sell it where it is, you're likely going to lose your account. You're going to lose that trade. If you get lucky and you sell and it falls, if you get lucky and you sell here and it falls, that will be very dangerous for you. Because you will try to sell here, like you will try to sell here and try to sell, probably sell here and sell here and sell here. If you try to sell all those places, you will lose. Because there isn't a setup for sell there. There's more of a buy setup here. Now, would it go? We don't know. Can this thing crawl its way down back to the low? That is possible. And if you do get a sell setup somewhere in here, then you take the trade. Because right now there isn't a sell setup, but they can make a sell setup by that time, give you a flag, and if you get that flag, you take the trade. If they do that, we would look for the same thing here and one more up. So most likely it's going to go up because the consolidation is not over. On the euro, we can see the same thing. It's making a bigger consolidation. Right? We have made this big consolidation. We've made a small one there. We've made a much internal smaller one here. They're making a bigger consolidation here as we expect. Now, is it over? Based on my calculations, I don't think it's over. I think we're going to get some more, and you can actually see on the 4-hour we are coming down. Remember, last week, this one was pretty much looking like a downside, and it gives you a down trade. If you look at this here, 1 hour, you had a very similar pullback. Come on. You had a similar pullback like you had here, and you're getting a break, so you're getting some sell setups. You're getting some sell setups. There's a likelihood you're going to get more downside. If you get the sell, take the sell. The buy right now is not valid. You wouldn't want to buy this until you break out of this structure. Right now, you're already starting a downtrend. It's not there, but you're starting. But it's a corrective trend, which means this trend will not go fast. It will not go far. Even if when they spike it down like this, they do pull back. And if they keep pulling back like that, by the end of this week, or maybe even in this week, if they finish off this consolidation somewhere here, we may see that upside. There is a possibility. So if you're in any sell setups, you may want to start moving stops when you get into profit, because it's not likely going to go far. As far as we can see here, this setup hasn't confirmed. It hasn't confirmed a long-term downside, as well as it hasn't confirmed any up trade as yet. The up trade, when they break the structure, we'd look for that. Long-term downside is if this turns out to be the consolidation in here. And they drop. If you're in the sell and they drop like this and they start to pull back, well, that would confirm the long-term downside. We haven't got that confirmation as yet. So for now, it is just going sideways. Pound, also, as you can see, seems to be making more of a consolidation at the top there. Not much of a flag, looks more like a consolidation. If this is the top, if that is not a triangular pattern consolidation, it wouldn't be a triangle. It could be some kind of an expanding flat or so as it is right now. This would have to go back up right there, right now. If this breaks this structure, this low here, if they keep breaking this low, any pullback here would be a sell setup, right? To confirm that they're going to make one more upside, they have to go up right now. On the 1 hour, that is not looking so likely, right, that they're going to go up. So you'd have to wait to see if you get a reversal here, pull back with a flag here, and then go, this would be your buy setup, right? If you get that buy setup, there was one here, for example. See that, right? This was looking like one. They actually broke it slightly. If you see that piece there, they broke that structure and reversed it. So if they break this structure, we would expect them to come back to at least this top here before they're reversed. The downside, if you're gonna get a trade to the downside, you will not sell at this bottom. In a structure that looks like that, you never sell here. So if it is going to drop, let it drop through the structure, pull back, and then we start selling, right? Let it drop through the structure. It doesn't necessarily has to be a broadening top. There are different structures. It's making something that could be an expanding flat or an expanding triangle, or could be the reversal We don't know. There's a reason that we would like this. You don't know that this is not the end of the entire move. That has to be confirmed by this, if they do this and drop, that's your confirmation. If they drop to this low and pull back, that's your confirmation. So you don't have the confirmation set up for a downside, which means you're not going to sell into that pattern right now. Now, what are the chances it can break on the daily if you look at the long-term daily structure? Remember what we were saying? This pattern would likely break to the downside, but if you look at this, see this piece when they started to make that there? They can still go one more up, then reverse, right? This might not be finished. But whenever that is finished, you might get a very big move because this is a huge consolidation to the upside. So you just need to confirm that this is finishing what it's doing at the top. There's a very small piece. If that confirms, if they open with a break here on Monday morning, we'll all look for any flag, any correction for sell setup. But I want them to break through that structure there. Right? Make sure that it is not making a triangular pattern. We wouldn't know that because we don't have enough information to confirm that. Aussie, definitely downside. That is already, we were talking about this and I keep showing you this and I'll show you it again. Very likely Aussie is going to come down more here. If Aussie is going to come down and Euro looks like it could come, then you may want to look for the pound to break out of that structure, which means you don't trade it as yet, you wait for it to break out. And when you get that confirmation, then you go for the trading, right? You can trade Aussie to the downside. And it is likely going to come more. It is a corrective structure to the downside. If they make, well, on a 1 hour, you may already have a flag there, let's see. More of a correction, not a flag. It's pretty sharp. So if they give you a little flag here, you can sell. If they pull back, if they go back anywhere like that, that would be a perfect sell setup if you get that, right? But it's a sell setup. You're looking for a sell setup on the Aussie. You will not buy the Aussie until it breaks out of this structure now. There isn't a buy setup until it breaks that structure, right? So let's go. New Zealand. This is definitely downside. I think I said that last week. Even if they break the top, you're looking for downside. They did broke the top, so let's look at it. Last week, we were in this piece coming down. And I said there's a possibility they'll make one more break that top, but this is going down. So this, we're not expecting any more break of the top. It could happen, but I'm not expecting that right now. First, they'll have to come down. Because this correction had 1, 2, 3. So we've got 1. If they correct in here some more, they will have to drop here, then go back up. So I think this week, if they do this, we can look for a sell setup. I'm not looking for a buy setup. Is that we don't have a buy setup here. The bigger structure is still telling you it's to the downside. We're in a corrective structure on a weekly, on a daily, on a 4 hour, and maybe if we get a good 1 hour setup here, it will be a very nice sell setup. Possibility breaking out, 1 more up possible, and then still downside, right? That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That possibility exists. Swiss, more upside. Remember, I had this chart here for a long time. Breaking the low, we thought they'll break it once, they broke it twice. The second time was a surprise, but that's part of a structure that we know, and now we're looking for upside. So at least to this stop, breaking this stop here. I think you may get something like this and then up. So on a short, very short time frame, in a 1 hour, you may get one small move to the downside here. And I think it's a very nice setup, very short move. If you take the trade, they get to this level, you may want to take profit unless it goes extremely fast through that structure. What are the chances they don't break the top and fall? We've seen contracting flats, and that is a possibility. We would look at this here as the 1, 2, 3, if that comes here. We're expecting them to break the top first and then come. This would be a running flat if they don't break the top, but we're expecting an expanding flat before they go, right? Nothing has changed in this that I've drawn for a week or so more, right? They're actually doing exactly. We didn't expect them to come back here a second time, but that's okay. That's part of a structure we've seen, especially when you're in a correction, right? So will they break the top? We're most likely looking for that. It's not necessarily going to happen. So the Swiss would be a very good clue as to what the rest of the majors could do. Which means if you see the Swiss breaks that structure to the downside, you probably don't want to be in any sell in the Aussie, Euro, New Zealand pound. Because one of these will lead the way. And if the Swiss already has a perfect setup to lead the way, it might be the one that will be leading the way and setting the direction. So if the Swiss just comes to this level here and bounce, great, you take the buy. You look for that buy setup. You can take the sell. It's a short-term trade, depends on how, how good you are at this. Very short-term trade, not a trade I'll advise if you don't have the experience to do that, because it's going to likely be a break-even trade. And that is if you're experienced. If you're not experienced, it's going to be a loss for you. You can look for the upside. If and when it breaks the structure, that is when you will start to say, okay, well, maybe we're going to get the next impulse to the downside. Let's look for that. Right? Yen, definitely upside. We've been saying this for a while. So we broke the low, we are going up. This is not confirming, because people keep asking me, is this an uptrend? We don't know that as yet. It's not confirming anything. All you have is a move to the upside. And that is not enough to confirm anything. But if this corrects to the downside here, this would confirm the upside. Now, just be aware that that correction could do two things. If they do correct, it could go flat. It could go deep. I don't think they're going to break the low. And then it will take off. Now, is the takeoff this move? Or is the takeoff going to be just a bigger correction for one more down? Same question, right? Sometimes they're that time when we know that this doesn't have that one more down. This is one of the cases where that one more down is still a possibility, right? We did break the low, but that one more down is still possible. But I think now it's less possible, which means I am not looking for that one more down anymore. It's still possible. I'll still say 20, 30% it could happen. But because of this sharpness of this move and the length of this move, I'm not looking for that anymore. I'm expecting some kind of a correction here and then totally upside. And if you're lucky, you get that. So which means if you see that correction happening here, and you're going to get that next impulse up, don't miss it. We have actually been trading this yen very nicely. It is this is my best trade so far. It has been working really good for me. So what you got to do, the best trades, I should say, because there are numbers of them that we were looking at. So watch that possibility, because if this takes off, the Swiss will go back up, right? Sometimes it goes reverse, agree with you, but not this time. Those reverse time, what you see is structures that is already built in to make that happen. This one does not have that built in to make that structure happen. I don't think we will see a reversal, because I'm not seeing any structure. As of now, I am not seeing any structure within it that I would look for that will make that reversal. Now, is it possible? Maybe, but I still can't see it. And that is where the wave theory gets difficult, right? That sometimes it's pretty clear. You're 99% sure about it and it works. Sometimes you don't have enough information to make a confirmed decision as to what that pattern will be. And that is so, because we are always trying to forecast ahead of time, right? We're not waiting. If you wait for it to happen and then say what it is, you're wasting your time. You can't trade it, it's gone. We're trying to forecast the moves ahead. So I try to forecast based on the patterns that I already have, the patterns that have completed themselves, and the possible patterns that could form. As it stands right here now, I don't see a possible sell. Now, what does that mean to me? It means if I don't get a buy setup, I don't care what happens to the chart. So if this drops to the bottom 200 pips, worst case scenario is I am not in the trade. I get taken out of my buys for probably break even 20, 30 pips, because I think I have what, 100 pips plus or whatever. And I get taken out of that trade and I'm not in the sell. And I don't mind being that way. I don't mind making forecasts every time and then waiting for the forecast to confirm for me to be in the trade. Because when I'm wrong about the forecast, which means I make a forecast which, based on the information I have, and that probably wasn't all, or it wasn't doing the pattern I expected to do, decide to do something else, then I'm simply not in that trade. That's okay. That is what you should do. You should make your forecast and then wait for them to prove. And if my forecasts are proving the direction I want it to go, then I should be in that trade. And those are the trades that will make you money. It's not about getting it right every time. It's not about being on the right side. It's not about, trying to pick every move that moves. It is picking the ones that you have confidence in. Right? Those are the ones that will make you money because you have confidence in the trade from the very beginning, which means you know what it's going to do likely, and it's starting to do that. You get in the trade and you let it do it. That's it. And we've been following this up and down. If you're with me on all the webinars, we've been following this all the way up and down. Starting from this downside, we've been following this if you were in the webinar. We even looked at this piece. So, nothing is new here. Nothing is not unknown to us so far. So let's see. If we get the upside, we buy. If it goes down, we'll wait again and see what happens. CAD, making a pullback, and it likely look like you might get one more downside here. There's a possibility. We do have divergence here, which is telling me they should make a bigger correction, right? It should be a bigger correction, which means before you go down. If we get the bigger correction, I would wait for them to break out, pull back, and then start to buy, right? Because it's going to be more like a 1, 2, 3. If we don't, and I've known that this could happen, this could drop one more here. It could pull back again. It could drop one more here. It could pull back again. It could drop one more there. And all the time here, you'll be doing this. So if you get the sell, take the sell. CAD doesn't have to do what Yen or Swiss is doing, right? If it's a dollar movement, only then it will do it, but it doesn't have to do that. So if you get this sell here, like this sell, take the sell, right? It's easy. If you get a sell setup, it's looking. Don't look for buys until you break out. Remember last week I was saying if you want to get aggressive, there was a short buy here. By the way, anybody took that buy setup? That was the buy last week. If you're lucky, it's going to go very fast. Remember I said, we had this pattern here, and you said we expect them to come back slowly to the top here. But you can take the buy, and if you're lucky, it goes fast. Anybody did that trade? If you did that trade, you did well because it did go fast. But that's how we were expecting them to come very slow to that top. They broke the top, come back, and the same thing. You could repeat that same trade here. They broke the top. Are they going to go back up? If they give you a flag here again, you could get one more up. So short term, you can take that trade. If this is coming down, it has to break here, make a flag, and then you sell. Right? So which way? Just wait for the setup. This could go both ways. XAG downside, and I think some more downside. We're getting a deeper pullback. Right? They broke the line, they make a correction, you're in a sell, they make a correction here, you sell, they make another correction. So it's just a deeper pullback. I don't think it's a change of direction as yet. We're still gonna get more upside, right? I still think, they've made deeper corrections like that before. See this one, before they go back up? See this one here before they came back down? So making a deep correction in here before they go back up, nothing surprising. Right? If you look at the chart this way, this is what you would see. You'd see one up, one down, one up. You'd see one. You could see one. You could see another one here and then see one there, right? Possible? So the downside is short term, which means if you're in a sell, you want to start move your trades into profit. And for those who are long-term traders in silver, once it gets into the 16 area and below, you can start to buy. Don't worry, it's not going to go to 0. Even if it falls lower, probably 14 is the lowest you'll probably see. After that, it's going to go back up. So anywhere between 16 and 14, it's your buy zone. That's up to how fast the chart moves, when it moves, where it moves. You can make that decision on your own. Depends on whether you're trading with leverage or you're trading without leverage. Right? Let's go. Gold, same thing. Correction. I still think this is also correction. But if you want to trade short term on them, you can take short term trades. Wait for a setup. Sell the breakout. That was a nice short term breakout. I think this one here was not clear because this was breaking here and I said stay out of it. So if you stayed out of it, you did well. We've got a trend down now, so they come up a little more here. You get a sell. No buy until they break. They break, pull back, and then you look for buys. I still think there's more downside before they actually go. Euro Oz. This one actually went down nicely as we expected. Right? We expect this to come. They did break the low and then they're pushing back up. I still don't think it's going up as yet because in the bigger picture, this is what you have. We still are in this big sideways consolidation. See? So I still think this is part of the consolidation. They're going to come here before they go back up. So there's a good chance we might get a nice sell setup this week. Retest the low and then go back up. Because we're pretty much going sideways. Would we get that trade? Let's look here. Put it here. A sharp move up. So if they make a flag here, you're looking for a flag like that. If they make a flag here, you sell. The sell should definitely break this low. So if you get a flag in here, probably wait for a nice flag like that. That would be a good sell setup. You're not going to buy in here. You can buy above the top. If they do decide to go, you're going to get something like this. Rather than get a flag, you'll probably get something like this. So unless you get a flag like that, don't sell it. The flag would be a good sell idea because if you look at Euro New Zealand, remember this was a sell setup. This was last week, sell setup. It did pull back deep, so it depends on where you had your stop or whether you were aggressive enough when you moved to break even. You got a break even, but you had a second sell setup there. If you get another sell setup here, take the trade. Take your profit once you break the low. Don't keep this one. Euro Oz looks more downside. Euro New Zealand is correcting to the downside. They're both correcting, but Euro Oz have a bigger chance of going lower. We wanted something big like this, and we are getting it. So they go one more down, I would take profit because they can go right back up. We're going to watch this pattern here for buy setups of the long term. We want this to come down some more here, probably come here, maybe even make a couple more like this. But on the long term, we'll be looking for that trade. So short term, this week, next week, couple more weeks, you have sell setups. And then when it starts getting close to the lower, we start seeing the sign that it's going to turn. And they don't have any sign of that thing turning as yet. As soon as we start seeing the pattern completing itself and ready to turn, we would look for the buy setup, right? And the buy setup is going to be one hell of a trade to the upside. So be ready for a buy setup. I think you're going to get it. It's coming down very slow. When they come to the trend line, we'll see what happens there. But right now, if you get a sell setup, they'll have to pull back here for you to get a sell setup, something like this. And you can sell. Euro Yen. I think this one, not much of a surprise, but I didn't expect them to push so high. I thought they'll just break the top, maybe like this, and then come down back. They actually went a little higher than I expected. So if I had expected that much high, I would be in the buy, but I did not take the buy because I didn't think they were going to break. We had divergence here, we have divergence here, and we no longer have divergence here, right? So if you're looking at that, what you're looking at here is that this possibility is that this could come down here one more, go back, and then come down, right? So you're looking for that trade, look for a sell setup. Wait for this to come, wait for it to make a flag, and then sell, right? If they go sideways, if this just goes sideways like that, right, without going down, and you get a break-even trade, then we would look for the buy. One more upside is possible, but I do think they'll come very deep. We need a correction like this. So they'll have to come down, pull back, do this, and then go back up. So if you get this sell here, take it. Wait for a pullback, you get out of the trade and take a second sell in it. If you're lucky, they go down the first time, right? You might not get a deeper pullback. So Keep your eyes on this for a sell setup. The buys will come. I look for a buy when they come closer to the trend line. Then you will look for a buy setup to the upside. One more up before they fall. Euro Chief, definitely a sell setup. Did it go up some more? Yes. We're looking for a sell from here. That become a break-even trade. You're looking for a sell from here, that breakout. Well, this one we saw this as a buy setup, but a short term. And you're looking for this to come down, right? This structure could push up some more, but it is going to fall very hard. So instead of looking for a buy in this, look for the sell setup. The buy is very, very short-lived. If you understand anything about structure, when this is coming down and this is coming down, you're looking for buys, right? When this is going up like this, you're looking for a sell setup because it's going to be a very big trade. Keep your eyes on that. Euro CAD, we got some more up here slightly, maybe. They're consolidating here. So they may make one more up and we could probably see more down, right? If they break this structure, wait for a pullback, wait for a correction at the top there before you buy. So you can look for a buy, a short-term buy here, right? I don't see the selling that as yet. And we don't have a sell set up in there. I think you can put this mostly like this now. It's more of they're going to do something like 1, 2, 3, and then go back up. You know, like this one, 1, 2, 3, and then go down. So look for that buy setup from here, right? To the trend line, and then from there, by that time, you will make a decision whether they're breaking out or they're giving you one more downside. Euro pound, definitely downside. Absolutely no question where this is going to go, right? You're getting a perfect consolidation here now. And when you get consolidation like those, you see this one in here, you get very strong drop after that. 4 hour, you don't want it better than that. Remember I said this will consolidate. And I actually wanted to consolidate. I'm in the trade from the top and I'm still in the trade and I'll still be in the trade for a while. So I love the fact that they're making a very nice corrective structure here. They could probably push up some more. That would be even better for me because now I'll get a sell from somewhere here going down. If you're not in the trade and you don't get a sell from there, look for a sell when they break this structure. Look for a sell. The potential for this thing to go is very, very far. Right? Now, can they consolidate more in here? I think they can. This was a bigger consolidation if you look at that at the top there. But they don't necessarily have to do that. Right? This trade is what's going to bring you beyond this level. Any surprise? When it will change its strength for what? Going back up? Try to get the down move first. The down move have a couple 100 pips. Why you want to go up when this thing still have about maybe 1,000 pips or so to go? Get that move first and then we'll look at it up. It would likely go back up, but that's a weekly structure. Unless you're looking at a weekly chart, unless you're trading a weekly structure, right? So this will have to first, they may even consolidate here some more, then drop to this level. And then we will see if we get the upside, right? Now, this thing might never come back as a straight line like that. It might be much, much worse than you think, especially if it is going to start to give you spikes up and down, spikes before it goes. But if you know the trade and you understand the structure, those spikes will not scare you. You see, how many people got scared with this little pullback in here? Let's be honest to yourself. How many of you got scared that, oh my God, this thing is pulling back, right? You look at it in a daily and it's not doing anything. Is it really right where it was, right? So the problem is when you go to the 1 hour and the 15 minute, these up moves, they look very scary to you, right? When this thing looks like it started to go, oh my God, I need to get out of the trade. It's gonna, oh my God, look what it's doing there. Well, it's not doing anything. You just have to look at the bigger structure and see, well, you know that the chart does not move in a straight line. That is why you're here, right? Because the whole theory that we are looking at is called wave theory. It means the chart moves up and down in waves. And if the wave scares you, you'll never be a surfer, right? You got to learn to ride the waves. You got to learn to understand that this should not scare you. Go to 1992 to short again. I can promise you I never said that. And never quote me. You know why? I know for sure 100% I never said that? Never in any of my webinar would you hear me say a number where it's going to. We don't deal with numbers, we deal with structures. Never would you hear me say when I think it's going to happen. We don't deal with time, we deal with structures, right? That's one of the conversations that I had with a very, very, very big investor in Dubai this time. I'm telling you about a super multi-million-dollar investor who says to me, okay, if I ask you where euro is going to go next week, can you tell me? I said, no, sir. He said, why? I thought you were the guy who does this forecast. I said, we do forecasts based on structure, not on time. If you ask me where euro is going to go for the next hour, I probably will give you a very accurate forecast. If you ask me where euro will go probably in the future, I'll give you a very accurate forecast. If you ask me where it's going to go next week, Wednesday, I don't know. I can tell you it's in a consolidation, wait for it to break. Chocolate meeting. So, you know, you've got to actually give me, we don't trade based on time and on price. We trade based on structure. And that means if you're quoting me saying 1992, you're wrong. I never said that. Because I do not quote price and I do not quote time. Right? So just make sure you quote me right next time. I said wait for a deeper correction, wait for a corrective structure, a longer time frame structure, and then you can sell again. Well, you're getting that structure right now. Right? Oh, you figured it out according to my drawing? That's good. Many of my traders can't figure out according to my drawing, because my drawing are just a symbol, just lines of where it will likely go, not where it will go to, but the direction. The only thing those arrows are showing you is a sense of direction. It has nothing to do with where that price is going to be, right? Don't ever take the arrow to mean the price. It's just giving you a sense of direction, where it is going to go. That's why it's an arrow, right? So if you guess the price looking at that arrow, believe me, I didn't even look at where I'm putting the arrow in terms of price. I look at where I'm putting the arrow in terms of structure, right? So you learned something I didn't know. Watch this. We're making a nice structure. It might not be complete, but when this break, you want to be in that trade, guys. This could be a very, very big one, right? So don't look at the arrows in terms of price, guys. I don't put the arrows there for price. It may fall on any price. I'm putting them to show you what is a possible structure it will do. Right? Not necessarily exactly to that price. So don't do that. That's not right. Good. Let's go. Punk Chief. Why do I have Punk Chief above Punk Oz? Let me go back. Punk Oz. Punk Oz. Definitely downside. It made one more upside. If you were in the buy, it was actually a good buy setup if you took it, but you should have to take profit immediately because they're reversing now. And that means you could probably see a deeper correction here before they go back up. It's likely going to go back up. And put it in daily. This could likely go back up here, but they will make a deep correction here now, right? Let me don't put arrows so you wouldn't tell me which price they're going to. I don't know what that correction would look like, but I would see a corrective structure. And if I get that corrective structure, I can trade it to the downside short term on the 1 hour. And once like this one, everybody remember when we were trading this up, I keep saying, if you go back and look at all my webinars, when this was going up, I was saying, guys, this is just a correction like this to come down, Well, I'm telling you the same thing. This is a correction like this to go up, right? They always do that. So what you're going to look for here now, right now, is not a downtrend as such, but a corrective structure to the downside. So this could likely do something like this. And if you see that, look for one more trade to the downside, take profit. If they pull back as a correction again, look for one more sell to the downside, take profit. This happens and look for the buy setup. See? Pretty easy, right? It's not that easy. So watch the trade and watch how that structure develops. If the direction is changing, we'll see it. If you're likely to assume down move on a Euro Oz and Pound Oz, so you should wait for an up move on Aussie, right? Not necessarily. If you're expecting Euro Oz to go down and Aussie go down, what you're expecting Euro to do? Think that way. If you're expecting Pound Oz to correct to the downside, not go down, correct to the downside, and Aussie go down, then what should the Pound do? right? That is what you have to, that's what you have to, you have to look at them in that sense. They're not exactly, you notice that the Euro Oz, I said it's a bigger move to the downside, but the Pound Oz is just a correction to the downside. Now, if they work the way we expect them to work, you still have to wait for that setup to trade it. And if they work the way you work, I would go for the Euro Oz trade, not the Pound Oz trade. Now, I'm not the luckiest guy in pulling the right trade. My traders will tell you that. When we're in the trading room and we have 6 setups and we said, okay, guys, your choice, choose one. My traders don't like to choose the one I choose because I'm not the luckiest guy in getting that right. As they say, they used to ask me which one you're choosing, so we could don't choose that one because that one is not going to go. Right? That's just the fun part of trading. Doesn't mean it works like that always, right? But my traders will tell you when they come, right? Oh, which one you're picking? So we don't pick that one. So let's go. I'm going to pick the Euro Oz over the Pound Oz, and that means you should trade the Pound Oz. It's likely going to go further. Pound New Zealand. I think the trolls are going to have some fun over that. Let's go. Pound New Zealand, we're making a big correction at the top there. See that? I don't think it's a reversal as yet. It could be a very big correction in the middle here, which means that if we make this as a big correction here, we might still get one more up. Now, can this correction come all the way back to the trend line? Let's see if we have sell setups in it. Put it in a day 1 hour. And if you get a flag here, well, it might be too late for that. But if you get a flag here, you could go with one more. I wouldn't do it because they need to break this bottom to complete that pattern and go back up. So once they break the low, then I would look to see what it's doing to decide if I'm going to get into any sell in this. I would not get into any sell in this right now, right here. I'll probably just stay out of this for a while. Pound Chief, I'm looking for more downside as well. We broke the top as we expected, so which means Pound Chief could be a much bigger move to the downside. Actually, Pound Chief could be a whole reversal to the downside. Now, if all the other Pound trades are making corrections, right? The Pound Oz, the Pound New Zealand, so far that we saw, right? They're making corrections to the downside, not necessarily very big moves. Pound Swiss is telling me this is possible, could make a big move to the downside. See that? We had one up, we had one down, we're getting one up. Either this makes a correction and go one more up, then break, or this could be the start of the downside, right? So which one is going to move? Or how much would the pound be the movement in this? How much is it going to be a Swiss movement? Remember, Swiss has a corrective structure. One more spike up and then downside. Maybe it's a contracting flat and it never goes up one more, right? So look for this here. On the 4 hour and the 1 hour, look for a sell setup because it might be turning. I would wait for this piece to start making a flat correction here before I start selling. You know, correction like this, correction like that, correction like that. Just wait for a correction and then you start selling. Now, you've got to have patience to do that. Most traders don't have patience. I can tell you that. I meet a lot of traders. Most traders don't have patience. That is one of their biggest reasons why most traders lose patience. If you learn patience, you become a very successful trader. Learning a good strategy, learning what the chart is doing, understanding how to trade it are basic stuff. You can learn that. Those are easy stuff to learn. We are all trained to learn things since we went to school, so we can learn that. Patience, nobody trained you to have patience. You were not trained. Nobody gave us the method of how to learn to, you know, when you went to school, they taught you how to learn stuff, right? How to read the charts, how you can read this book and learn that, how to memorizing, all of that. But when patience is not something we're being taught, right? Anybody ever taught you how to be patient? Except your parents probably when they put you to sit down and said, sit there, don't get up. Nobody really taught us how to manage patience, how to manage our emotions, to be patient when things are happening, right? If you learn that, you can become a very successful trader. You're only one. I can tell you 90% of the traders in this room don't have the patience it needs to become a successful trader. They simply don't have that patience. You need to develop that as an attitude, right? If you develop that and control your emotions, when they said patience, it means controlling your emotions. and understanding what the trade is going to do and learn all of that. And if you do that, Yulia have, right? Yeah, I know Yulia is in some very long-term trades. I know that Yulia does have patience. She's in my group. That's why I know sometimes everybody's out of the trade and Yulia's still in the trade and it's still going her way, right? So she has patience. We know that. We have a lot of traders in our room who do long-term trading and have the patience, right? So if that's one of the things you can learn when you do wave theory, patience when you trade. Don't jump in and out of trade, right? Actually, I met one guy who's in Dubai who is trading. Somebody in this group might know the person because they told me about him. This guy just takes trade. He has this huge account. He doesn't use leverage. He just decides he's going to buy euro or sell euro at any point based on his own strategy, and then he leaves it there. So, you know, he buys 5 standard lots of euro, and that is like 500K euro, and he just puts it in his account and leave it. Now he's waiting for euro price to go up so he can sell it. That's his trading style, right? He doesn't have to do anything, right? No leverage, nothing. He just takes some money, buy euro, and put it in a corner. And he waits. I think the guy told me one time he had to wait 3 years for euro to go back up to make profit. Literally just kept the euro in his account for 3 years, right? And then it went back. But he doesn't need money, right? We can't do that. That's not our trading style. That's super patience, right? That means you just have a lot of money and you don't know what to do with it, right? And he does have a lot of money that he doesn't know what to do with it, right? Basically, he has so much money he doesn't know what to do with it. So trading for him is this kind of fun, right? You can just buy and wait. He can buy yen or sell yen. He can do anything and just wait. He doesn't have to worry, right? He can share some. I'm hoping he will share some with me. That's my hope, because I'll be meeting him one time. Next time I get back there, right? So basically, and these are the kind of traders you can find, right? That's good trading, but you have to have, we don't have that capacity to do that. None of us will take a trade and wait 3 years, right? As a matter of fact, your broker will be pretty happy here because he's going to get a lot of rollovers and he's going to eat you and you'll go blow up your account by then, right? We don't have that, but just to show you, right? Patience this guy has. He just put it in a corner and, you know, until he gets it in the profit, he's not doing anything with it. Literally, it's like you go in and buy 10 euros, let's say, for example, right? You take dollars, buy 10 euros or whatever currency, buy 10 euros, put it in your pocket and wait until euro price goes up. Literally, you can keep that 10 euros until the price go up and then change it, right? You will not make a lot of money because it's only 10 euros, right? And you don't have the time to waste so much to do that because you need money right now. If that person doesn't need money right now and he's doing other businesses bringing him money, he can afford to do that, right? He can afford to just wait on it, wait the cycles out, and then make money. We can't afford to do that because we trade with leverage. Exactly. Well, yes, I think I've read that also from Warren Buffett, that quote, right? If you're impatient, your money will go to the people who are patient, basically. So learn that. If you can learn that skill level, your trading will increase very much. That will definitely show you a change in your trading. Let's go. Peng Yen. Peng Yen's starting to come down back now. So let's see. Remember, we said once they break that top, this could become a bigger B wave structure, right? We're not sure what this pattern is on the daily. It's some kind of a weird pattern on the daily, but I think this is a bigger B wave, which means this week we should all look for sell setups. And if that we are correct about it, this could be a big Peng trade to the downside. So let's get this clear. 2 trades are showing us Peng trades to the downside, but correction. That is the Peng Aus and the Peng New Zealand. They're not showing us very big Peng trades to the downside. Maybe I'm wrong about those 2, because if we look at the other 2, that is the Peng Swiss and the Peng Yen, we're actually seeing big possibility to the downside. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to go in a straight line. These down trades may be very, very slow. And it might be a combination of the yen correcting and the Peng falling. Because Peng on the daily definitely has a big move to the downside. So what would happen for the Peng Swiss and the Peng Yen to fall, but the Peng Aus and the Peng New Zealand to not fall but correct? It means Aussie and New Zealand would likely fall with the Peng if the Peng does fall. Right? So if we're correct about these forecasts and these trades go, Yen is going to correct to the downside. Swiss is going to correct to the downside. I mean correct, not fall. Peng could fall, But at the same time, so would be the Aussie and the New Zealand, which means Pound Aus, Pound New Zealand goes very small, but Pound Yen, Pound Swiss moves fast. Right? That's simple. That is if it's going to happen that way. We don't have to be right about it. We have to be prepared for it. The whole idea of trading is you don't have to be right about that forecast. I could be wrong about that forecast. I would care less about it. But I'm prepared for it if it's going to happen. Right? It's like you know somebody said, hey, there's a storm coming. You don't know if the storm is going to come for sure. You might not know the exact strength of it. You might not know all of that stuff. But if you're prepared for it, you're pretty safe, right? If you're not prepared and it does come, well, sorry, you're not there. You're probably going to get hurt. In this case, you will not make money. So we are going to be prepared for this fall if it comes. And we're going to be in it. If it goes up some more, okay, I'm not in it. Let it go. I was not prepared for a buy setup. It's that easy. That's what trading needs to be. You do your forecast, prepare for the trade setups, and when they go, you get into those trades and you ride them all the way. That's it. If anybody's teaching you anything else about putting a horizontal line and wait for it to cross and then wait for this and wait for that, or draw a butterfly and wait for the butterfly to do this or that, they're actually having a very fancy imagination. And if you don't have the same imagination like them, you're likely going to lose their account, because I can promise you they're losing their account too. If you start seeing all those animals and things in the chart, just think about it this way. Look at the structure of the chart and be prepared to trade based on the analysis you have. But it should not be anything based on some animal or some horizontal line in the chart. Those things are useless. Literally, think of the guy who bought it and waited 3 years for it to come back. It is simple. The reason he knows it's going to come back is because he knows, he doesn't even know it. He just does it because he looks at the chart and he sees the chart goes up and down. He doesn't know anything about wave theory. He doesn't even, look very much at the chart. He just looks at, it goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes. So if I hold it long enough, it will come back to me. Right? That means there has to be a wave before it could go back up and down, up and down. And if you know that and you understand how to read into the waves, you're literally going to make a lot of money. That's the whole point. Yeah, well, it depends on how good an artist you are. You could see anything in the chart. And a lot of your imagination, if you got good imagination, hey, you may see so much things in the chart, so much animals, you could see whatever you want in it. It might not be there, but you can see it. Who can stop you from seeing it? Right? That's your job. You just shouldn't be trading it. If you see it, don't trade it. That's the main thing. My only problem is if you try to trade it, you're going to lose your account, right? Don't try to trade it. Think of that guy. He doesn't even know wave theory, but he knows it goes up and down. That's what the chart do. If you understand the wave theory and you could, master it, of course you're going to become a good trader. Right? If you see a flying horse, I don't doubt you, Jim. Because when I tell these guys it doesn't exist, they say, what is he talking about? I can see it. I will, okay, sorry, I can't see it. Right? So you go ahead and see whatever you want. I don't see them. Watch for the waves. Watch for this to correct, and we will look for sell setups. CAD. Also looking some downside, right? This might be a correction as well. We can't confirm that this is going to make the downside. I believe this might be just a correction here. Now, if this starts to go down very much, this would be all the correction. But there's a chance that they could go back up here, make a bigger correction before it comes. So what's the best thing to do? Stay out of the CAD. Look at the ones that has better setup. You see the difference is that the CAD is at the bottom here, right? This is the big sideways move, and the CAD is in the middle. Look where the Pound Yen is. See that? This is the big sideways move. Where is the Pound Yen? It's at the top. So what are the chances of this coming down here and the CAD, which is in the middle, just do something like that? You want to trade this one. If they're all going to go down, you want to take this one. This one is at the top. That one is in the middle of nowhere. So go for the one that gives you the best opportunity. Aussie, New Zealand, more downside. If you remember, we said when this started to do these crazy moves here that we couldn't figure out, we said this is not an impulse. It has to come back down here, then go back up. Now, the downside is not going to be a straight line. The downside has to be something similar to this. So I would make an assumption that this is going to take a hell of a long time before it goes up. that they will probably give you a pullback here, maybe drop like this. Not to the bottom, sorry. I don't expect them to come. I expect them to come somewhere in the middle here, go back up like that, maybe in a bigger three-wave structure, and then come back down here before they go. Now, if you're lucky, and it does happen sometime, this one comes in a very sharp move down to the bottom here and then reverse the whole structure, right? If that happens, you want to get the sell. It could happen. You want to get the sell. So what you're going to start to do is look for sell setups. And I think you're starting to get them. Short terms, probably wait for this to pull back big and then go for the sell. Safest place, the longest will be when it gets to the bottom, because it's in a big C wave downside, and when it gets there, it's going to be a long-term yearly structure to the upside. So if you want to buy long-term trades, wait for it to hit the bottom here. It will have to break this low. It cannot go up in an impulse unless they break this low. Well, at least they come to the low unless it's a contracting flat. I'm not looking at a contracting flat, but this has to make some structure, come down somewhere here, and then go back up. When we see this structure complete, we'll all be in that. Now, can we trade this? Yes, we can trade that. Not the best trades, but you can pick daily trades in it. You can get, 50, 60 pips out of it every day if you trade it. Until you get that big move, which is this big one here going up. And that one will give you a couple thousand pips. So if you invest well in that one, you probably will make a lot of money. You can double your account on that, while you can trade small in this, right? Where there's a risk area, you trade less. Aussie CAD, coming down, same thing. It's in a big sideways here. You can actually see that. I think you're going to get some short-term trade here. I really don't like the traders. I don't think, there's a lot of spikes going on in it, so you got to be careful. Probably wait for this. If it goes back to the top, don't try to buy it. Wait for a sell setup from the top. Or if they break the structure, wait for a sell setup from the bottom. Don't try to buy it. I don't think the buy is a good idea. Aussie Swiss, similar structure. Don't try to buy it, because this might start to come down. So watch for the downside. If they break this structure, it's a big move. And it could go very fast. If you're considering the pound Swiss, could go very fast, right? So keep your eyes on this for a sell setup. Short-term buy, I don't think you want to get in it. If they're going to make a buy for the upside here, if they're giving you a flag here to retest the top, not the best trade. If you see something like that, you can take the trade, but you just take profit as soon as it touches the top. Right, and then wait for the sell, because this structure might eventually go down. Aussie Yen, already pulling down. We're in this big sideways move here. See that? We have a lot of divergence here, so this is likely going to go down. If you get any corrective structure, we can start looking for sell setups. Let's look at that in the 4-hour and 1 hour. You don't have anything right now, but I would like this to probably do something like this. Let them make a correction here, and then you can start to look for a sell. Right? They will probably stay. If they stay here for a while, it will be a better trade to the downside. If they don't, it's anybody's guess where it's going to go. They can retest the top again, which means you don't want to be in the sell. Wait for the consolidation, and that will give you the confirmation of the upside. New Zealand Yen, stay out of this. They will have to correct. You don't have a setup for a correction as yet, and you don't want to buy it there. Right? So stay out of this one. Let it, make the bigger correction, then we go for it. New Zealand CAD, looks like a short-term, maybe downside 1 hour. Very short-term trade, something like this. They go there, they could come back, something like that, right? More like 1, 2, 3, see something like that. You could, if you get a sell set up here, you can take one more attempt at the low. The buying is useless. Even if you get the buy setup, it's useless. It's not gonna go far. New Zealand Chiefs, same thing. You're looking for a sell setup here too, right? You can see that all of them are showing you some sign of sell setup. Let me see if I can show you that in a bigger picture so you can see what I'm looking at, right? If you look at this whole structure, you got to move down, you got to move sideways, you got that, you get a pullback. They may start to, if they start to come back, they'll probably do something like this here, retesting that low. So for the shorter term trade in the 1 hour, retesting this top is possible, but you don't want to buy that. If you get this trade, they'll just test the top and come down. Wait for them to break out of this structure, wait for a sideways, and then trade. The bigger trade would be to the downside. If it goes up, just ignore it. The risk to reward would be no good to the upside. CAD Yen, you're getting a sell setup, that's for sure, right? I think this sell setup was here since last week. And it's still there, right? So you can watch for this trade to come down here. Germany election, euro pair go up or down? Have no idea. I really don't care about the election. I'll be looking at the structure and then I'll decide whether I'll get an up and down on that. Okay. So let's see. It could be, yes, yen could be pretty strong this week. So this might give you a very nice trade. Remember, Pong yen down, euro yen down, CAD yen down, yes. Well done, James. You're taking notice of things. So we could see yen go up quite a lot. Watch these trades here. Let's see if Swiss yen has a similar structure. Swiss yen has a similar structure, but not very much, which means if yen goes down, Swiss goes down, this is going to do this, right? It's not going very much. CAD Swiss, you're getting a sell setup, which means Swiss goes down, CAD doesn't do anything, right? This trade is possible if that happens. Copper is still a sell. Now you got to wait. You may want to get out. Those of you who are not long-term, if you take that sell, you want to take profit because it looks like you're going to get a deeper correction. You see, they completed this and they may start to make a deep correction. So if copper gives you a sideways move here, look for one buy, take profit. It's not an upside. It's just a correction here before they go down again, right? So US oil. US oil is making a they made the top and it looks like they're going sideways here, more like that. See this? Kind of a sideways structure. This could both go up and come down because they're contracting, and when they do that, they can do both ways. Short term, upside is short term, downside is a longer term. Right? If you look at the bigger structure, this up move, we don't know how far this is going to go before they start to come back down. We might be in something like this. Something very big sideways move. So to the upside, it's struggling to go. You can see that, right? This price is not going very aggressive. And on the 1 hour, if they do make a spike up, which is possible, they'll probably come back down fast. So if you're going to be trading it to the upside, take profit if you get profit. If you don't, get break even trade and get out. To the downside, if you take the trade and they break through this structure here, right? If they break through that structure, you can keep the trade for a longer term downside. UK oil will give you similar structure. You can see that. Natural gas came back to the bottom, right? So this was somebody asked me for a chart preparation the last seminar, and I sent this to them. This is either going to come back here pretty fast. If it goes sideways, get the hell out of the trade because it's going to go back up. The most likely one was for a fall, right? So now you're back at the bottom of it. I can take this out. Yep, there was a nice sell setup there. I hope those who traded saw that, right? That was a really nice sell setup. So you had two sell setups. You had one here and you had one here. If anybody was looking for that, right? So now you're getting another one here. Wait for this to break out before you get a trade. Right? See that? So well done. So you see now, that's it. This is what is structured to do. Here's the thing. Here's the question I want all of you to ask yourself, or any one of you to answer. Can anybody tell me why this came down? Any one of you know exactly why that came down? Was it some no, not even the structure. I'm not asking to label the structure. I'm asking like why. People just said, well, one question was, what would the euro do during the German election? And I'm like, why the hell do you even have to worry about the German election? Right? There's no need to worry about the election. Ignore the election, because when you're looking at a chart, you're not looking at what happened at that time, right? You're not looking at why these things happen. Let me go back to the forward so I can show you. When you see all these structures, and we read into all this structure, we saw a sharp drop. I'm not asking myself why that happened. Was it FOMC? Was it I don't know, OPEC? Was it something else? Was it Russia? Was it Saudi Arabia? Was it anybody? We don't care. You really don't care why that dropped, right? Russians, right? We don't really care. Was it when you see that 1, 2, 3 structure? What you were telling yourself? Guess what we were telling ourselves as wave traders? We're looking for this thing to come down. And if you ask me, then what will be the reason for that to go down? Is somebody going to say something stupid? Is there going to be, are they going to increase production? Is something going to happen in the world? I don't care. Not my problem. It doesn't belongs to me. One of the things you're going to learn, all my traders is going to learn in the very introduction tomorrow, which this rest of the go we're not hearing. What is happening there that makes us so sure this is going to happen? Right? You will learn that tomorrow in the class. Tomorrow is the first class for the trading course, that you're going to understand why and how that things happens. It has nothing to do with an ABC or WXYZ or what of all of that. There's a specific reason why these patterns work. And that's what we do in our very first introductory class to the course. So all of you are taking the course tomorrow, you will learn that. Why that actually is happening. Not in terms of fundamentals or in terms of structure, but in terms of what is happening in there. That is what is going to give you confidence in trading patterns. Tomorrow's introduction was in tomorrow. Sam, you will have to come to tomorrow if you want. Right? You got to watch your language. You probably don't want to do this, use those language in here. So what should give you the confidence that this could do that? If you look at this structure, if this structure breaks out, you probably want to get that trade. Right? And you don't really have to worry about why it's going to happen. The why is already built in here. See that? The why is already in there. They're already planning that. They're already doing it. It's already in motion. You just don't know about it. But hey, if you're a wave trader, you know about it. S&P 500. Likely they're making a top already. And that means you want to start to look for sell setups. Right? You want to look for sell setups. Now, if this makes one more high, would you care? You shouldn't care. It's not going to go anywhere far. I mean, I don't know. You could go and get very crazy and think it is going to go far. But it is not going to go very far. I can tell you, if this thing spikes, I don't know, 100, 200 points more, it's going to come down very fast. It is about to make that turn. Watch your case. When everybody thought it was turning, I was saying, look for one more up. What gave me the confidence? Let me tell you, when I did this chart, anybody want to read the description in the chart? I actually wrote in the chart that I have no idea what this is. Somebody called me and said, hey, we see you do this on the, you read these charts on the currencies. Can you please look at the S&P 500 for me? I was like, okay, let me go look at it. I looked at it, sent him the forecast, and I said, well, I really don't know a lot about it. That's true. I don't know a lot about it. One guy said, what is this guy talking about, this thing going up, and he doesn't even understand what this is? It is going to fall. He has no idea. Don't follow him. We all know what happened. Right? So that guy who thought he knew fundamental, he said he has 10 years trading fundamental. He came, you can go read go there, find this chart and read at the bottom. This one and a second one that I posted. Read the thing. You would see how those guys were going crazy. They were saying like, this guy is, he doesn't have, don't even look at his charts. He doesn't have an idea what it's going to be. And I was like, you don't need to have an idea what it is, my friend. You need to understand what the chart is doing. And if you understand that, you can throw all the fundamentals into the garbage bin because you have no idea. He was telling me, I don't know, but he didn't even know that he doesn't know. That's how far he was. He knows not, and he was pretty sure he can read the fundamentals. It was going to fall. It was going to be the biggest fall of the century for him. Well, guess what? It's coming up and hey, it's following the arrows, by the way. Where's the guy who likes to look at my arrows? It's actually following the arrows, right? See? Just understand now. Well, now that guy is going to start be a big buyer. Now he wants to buy because he thinks, hey, this thing is going up. Nobody can stop it. No, now it's actually going to start to the downside. Be careful. Watch for sell setups. Right? Now you want to look for sell setups because it is going to go down. It's that simple. And there's a reason why it's that simple. And there's a reason why all of this thing works. And there's a reason why if you want to be a successful trader, you better learn it. If you want to be a successful trader, you better learn this stuff. There is no alternative to it. Nothing else will make you successful. You may win some trades, lose some trades, get on and off. You may even be a little one-time successful. But that's not a long-term strategy to be successful if you cannot understand what the charts are going to do. No news event you can interpret. I don't even care if you're Warren Buffett. He has tried to interpret some and get them wrong. He has made that claim himself. He gets them wrong very often. It's just that when he gets it right, he makes a lot of money. And he has the capital to do it. He has the capital to buy and wait for 5 years. And if the cycles are against him, it will come back to his point where he is bought and he can get out for break even. You don't have the capital to do that. You're not the guy who bought sold a euro and wait for 3 years. You have to make your profit this week, this month, this year. You don't have to wait 3 years. So learn to read the structure to give you the advantage. Let's go. DAX. DAX is making the one more up. So watch it. Remember, once the structure started to build up, we said one more up is coming. They will likely break the top. Then you will get the reversal. So if you're going to trade it to the upside, trade it with care. Nifty. Okay, my traders, and you would all remember, I said don't. If you're trading the upside in the Nifty, be very, very careful because of what it was doing in here. Went up some more and it's dropping. If you get a pullback, sell. When it breaks this low, go to break even or take profit. There is a chance they can be doing this. There is a chance they're starting this move down. Once they negate the correction, you're in a very nice trade to the downside. If you're a wave trader, you know how to do that. Right? We'll follow it. Look for sell setups, basically. What else we looked at? I think that's about all. Right? So I'll stop the recording. We don't want the recording to go too long. And if you want to ask a special question, Bitcoin, let's look at Bitcoin and then we'll stop the recording. I think Bitcoin because it's interesting. So I'll look at it, right? So remember Bitcoin was going to 20,000. All of you remember that? The guy came in my chart and said, this guy doesn't have a clue what he's talking about. Bitcoin will go to 10,000 and 20,000. And I was like, hey, when you break that top, take profit. Because this is what you're going to get. Bitcoin would likely get more downside. They're in a consolidation now. They can stay here for a while. By that, I mean they can actually do some more downside, some more upside. But then if they do this, it's going to be one hell of a fall again. Right? So watch this. I don't think they will go break the top right now. So I don't think if you're looking for buy setups, it's short term. You can see that, right? There's a short term buy setup here. Just move it into profit and wait and see. If they start to make consolidations in here, you'll get one more spike up. But if they do that, it will be downside. So just watch it. My concept on these is you don't want to be the last person to take profit. Where you want to buy every time it comes to the low. That's the XRP. Let's see where that is. It should be somewhere here. Every time it comes to the low, you can buy, which means you can buy right now. There is a good chance they were going to break this low. I didn't think they broke it this time. Let's see. This low they may break. There's a good chance they might break this low. So what you're going to do is you're going to watch it. If this comes down some more here, you can start buying in this area. Don't wait for them to break the low. You will not get that trade. Right? Watch this. If they start to go up from here, take that trade and take profit because they can come back down. Right? You can even buy at 17. Hey, 17 is low, my friend. Remember we said Ethereum was going to fall. It's in a big sideways move to fall. I actually had the charts there. I sent it to my investor. He's dealing with something like these. Let's see, where is it? Okay, where do I have it? I don't think I have. That's a Singapore. I don't think I have that one. But let me just bring it up because I had the chart ready for some reason. I don't know why I removed it. Okay, you would probably look at the 4 hour. They broke out already. So they're more in a big consolidation here too. So just keep your eyes on it. We were looking for a consolidation even on the 1 or the 4. Let me see. It's going to make more consolidation in here. Maybe a little up more, but possible you're going to get down. So we'll wait for this consolidation to finish, and that will give you a sense of direction, right? So wait for that. Okay, let me stop the recording. We don't want the recording to be too long.